From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. I'm Rich Straffolino. ChainDrop attack hits NPM. Multiple application security companies reported a new Shai-Hulud-based worm hitting NPM dubbed ChainDrop. This has compromised over 1,300 packages, which have a total combined 2 billion monthly downloads. The attack began after threat actors compromised the GitHub account of the maintainer of the popular package KV, spreading to other packages that they maintained and, from there, spreading to other organizations. Once compromised, threat actors pushed malicious files directly to a project's main branch and then generated new package releases. Because these were published through legitimate GitHub Actions workflows, the compromised releases didn't raise any red flags. ChainDrop ultimately looks to install InfoStealer malware that further collects developer and cloud credentials and publishes encrypted versions of them to a public GitHub repository. Multiple vendors have lists of the compromised packages, so look for the story in our show notes for the full details. Passkey attacks target passkeys. A new report by Palo Alto Networks' Unit 42 shows 3 ways to abuse Google Password Manager's synced passkeys to be used for account takeovers. The first technique, called passkeys, allows unprivileged malware to impersonate a trusted device and request valid authentication from a passkey. This doesn't require admin privileges, any user interaction, or unlocking the device. A second technique allows attackers to register their own user verification key with Google's Cloud Authenticator, and a third technique allows malware to obtain a master key used to encrypt all passkeys synced through a victim's Google Password Manager account. This was possible because Chrome exposes the secret for the master key in plain text through its internal FIDO logs. All 3 approaches require malware to already be running on a victim's Windows machine. AI accounts for most cybercrime in Africa. According to Interpol's new African Cyber Threat Assessment Report 2026, AI-driven cybercrime accounted for 55% of all digital crime in Africa last year. Losses reached $484 million in 2025, up over 150% from $192 million in 2024. 72% of the 36 countries represented reported the presence of scam centers in their country. The report found that a lack of real-time interagency data sharing between organizations like banks, telcos, and law enforcement creates opportunities for financial fraudsters. Interpol also found increased policy responses to these cyber attacks, with 17 countries either enacting or amending cybercrime legislation in 2025. AI note-taker leaks back-end data. Security researcher Bob DeHacker discovered earlier this year that any user of the Too Long Didn't View, or TLDV, AI note-taking service could access the company's Google Firebase environment. This exposed metadata could be used to identify and join calls. TLDV's customers include government agencies, universities, and major global organizations. This appears to be a basic misconfiguration of Firebase that allows anyone with a session ID to query the app's entire database. The researcher tried to report the issue since January but got no response before disclosing it to Dark Reading. As of this recording, it's still live. And now a huge thanks to our sponsor for today, ThreatLocker. Attackers do not always bring their own tools. AI can help them find ways to misuse software already trusted by the organization. Today's tip: approval should not mean unlimited access. Define what trusted applications can reach and what they can do. Learn how ThreatLocker applies this principle at threatlocker.com/CISO. CAF Bank trying to restore after 10-day outage. The UK-based Charities Aid Foundation, or CAF Bank, shuttered online banking services for the past 10 days in response to what it characterized as attempted fraud. In an update, the bank said it first saw fraudulent activity on July 21st, initially targeting a small number of customer accounts. On July 25th, it saw activity attempting to make those account logins unavailable, with access to their system tied to a third-party vendor that connected to its banking portal. The bank warned that it expected online access to remain intermittent going forward, although it hopes to stay online during regular business hours. It reiterated that the core bank was not impacted, with money in accounts remaining secure. Samsung removes residential proxy apps from TVs. Samsung announced that it banned apps that serve as residential proxy gateways from its smart TV app store and removed existing apps with such functionality. This comes after researchers at Mnemonic found that several popular apps had residential proxy functionality, including a game featured in Samsung's Editor's Choice section. This follows a similar move by LG last month, when researchers at Spur found 42% of its apps were residential proxies. While not malicious in and of themselves, residential proxies are often used by cybercriminals to hide traffic. Seeking lifetime protection for OPM hack victims. Odds are, if you have information online, congratulations, you're eligible for 2 years of free credit monitoring as a result of a breach. But back in 2015, before massive data leaks became the norm, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management suffered a massive breach impacting 22.1 million people, including 4.2 million federal employees, with social security numbers and security clearance records exposed. After the breach, Congress authorized 10 years of identity protection services. With those set to expire, Senator Mark Warner and Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton introduced the Reducing the Effects of the Cyber Attack on OPM Victims Enduring Response and Protecting Identifiable Information, or the glorious backronym Recover PII Act, which would extend those services to lifetime coverage. The bill currently has no GOP co-sponsors, so it does face an uphill battle. AI guardrails work great, unless you ask nicely. A new report from Cisco Talos looked at prompt logs and artifacts from threat actor endpoints running Claude, Codex, Cursor, and Gemini to see how threat actors get around LLM guardrails. The report found that often just claiming that the servers you're targeting are ones you own or that you're participating in cybersecurity exercises were enough to get models to cooperate. Sometimes just using intentionally neutral verbiage was enough to get around guardrails. If that didn't work, threat actors also found success by decomposing tasks across multiple sessions to evade broader detection of malicious activity, or conditioning the AI's persona by adding memories, markdown files, and system-level prompts. White House to keep AI framework under wraps. On August 4th, the White House held staff-level meetings with AI industry leaders to go over its voluntary AI model evaluation framework. Multiple sources told Axios the White House does not plan to publicly release it. This framework is the result of a June executive order that called for setting out a framework and cyber capability benchmarking process for models under development. Remember to set your calendar appointment for 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday to join us for the Department of No livestream. If you want some CISO commentary about the news of the week and an opportunity to get involved in our live chat, you've got to join us for the show. We stream it on the CISO Series YouTube channel, so be sure you're subscribed and join us this Friday at 4 p.m. And if you have some thoughts about the news from today or about the show in general, be sure to reach out to us, feedback@cisoseries.com. We would love to hear from you. Reporting for the CISO Series, I'm Rich Straffolino, reminding you to have a super sparkly day.
Cybersecurity headlines are available every weekday. Head to CISOseries.com for the full stories behind the headlines.